See how this goes.
Okay.
Visibility is definitely a factor.
Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com.
And I'm Bob. How's it going? What's up, I'm Matt.
The three of us are here, excuse me, skiing on 2026 Volkl M7 Mantras. Matt and I are on an M7 Mantra, and then Bob is on a Mantra 88, and we've also got a Mantra 84 in the back of your truck.
Yep.
So M7 Mantra for 2026 only changes cosmetically. It looks like that. And then Mantra 88, the name changed for 2025. Name carries over to 2026. Ski is all new, correct, Bob?
Correct. It follows the same build as your M7.
Yep.
But without the 4 radius drive. So this ski still has
3D radius. Got it.
But it does get the updates in the tailored Titanal frame and the tailored carbon tips.
Yep.
And the updates with the shape. So last year it was really simply a renamed Kendo 88, and then for 2026 it does get the same shaping.
And the Kendo 88 had the tailored Titanal frame, right? It just wasn't the updated tailored Titanal frame.
Correct. Nor did it have like that flatter profile that we talked about when we did that initial M7 review. So this thing's a little slicier and dicier than it's been before.
Yeah. So we're gonna split this over 2 days. We got probably what, 6 inches of snow last night?
Yeah, and it has substance to it.
Yeah. So today we'll ski some soft snow. Tomorrow we'll come back out, ski some groomers. Matt, it sounds like you had an adventurous first run today down Nosedive.
Yeah, that kind of substance thick snow kind of was pretty chopped up and almost turned into moguls our first lap, but thankfully with this stout construction, you just kind of plow right through. You can push through or slice and dice through it. So thankfully we had this build for this type of snow because it really comes in handy when conditions kind of degrade into something like this.
It is interesting. Like, we talk about this ski a lot, how stiff it is, how precise it is. And I just came down Perry Merrill, which was groomed with then like, it was like 4 inches of packed powder.
Yeah.
It was like very soft and easy to push through, so you would like kind of push all the way to the bottom of it every once in a while, which underneath is just firm. But that was really interesting because I don't think I've ever actually skied that exact type of snow on this ski, and you were able to play around with the 4 radii like more easily than I've ever felt before. Because normally, like on a groomer, you have to push through the ski to get it to bend to access the different radii in the ski. And in that snow, it was just pure like weight changing, which was really interesting. And it's I don't know, it was fun. Like not ideal snow conditions, but really fun testing for a ski like this.
It's fun to play around with the edge angles too.
Yeah.
On these multi-radius skis, like in general.
Yeah.
Just to kind of feather your angles and see what. And you can, there's something there. You can feel a difference in tip waist tail.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
That said, I don't know that this would be my first choice for skiing a groomer like that.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit more width and a little bit softer flex pattern, you probably would get a more natural feel.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to do that.
I can definitely see why people like this ski for stuff like that. A wider body carver.
Yeah.
That can just kind of motor through that kind of stuff.
Well, it was like,
make a lot of sense.
It was like, it was doing this too. You know, like the tip would stay up on top and then the heel would sink in, or the tail would sink in, which it was almost like kind of powder skiing, but groomed powder skiing, because you could control speed by like pushing your tail in.
Right.
It was really interesting. So anyways, we're gonna keep skiing. We'll see what we find. Right now we have found fog.
We get out of it quick.
Yeah, so we'll keep skiing and then we'll talk to you in a little bit.
Will do?
Yeah.
Okay, Bob, we didn't mention this in our previous chat. There's a person. Hello, person. These are your personal pair of Mantra 88s.
Yeah, this is it. They're a lot of fun.
How do you feel about your ownership, about the ski in general, and about that last run?
So I want to preface it because we went to Killington yesterday and skied on very icy snow.
And you were on those.
And I was on these.
Yep.
And they were phenomenal.
Yep, on the ice.
On the smooth ice.
I was not on Mantra
No.
88, and I did not have as good of a time on ice.
Yeah, I agree. It was lovely. Lovely skiing. And my general theory now is that these skis prefer smooth.
Yeah.
They do fine in deeper snow, like the first run kind of following Matt, and then when you guys were going, I went and did my own thing in Bypass Woods. Smooth, fresh snow, great.
Yep.
They prefer that. Smooth ice, they prefer that. Perry, awesome. And then once it gets chopped up, you start to feel kind of a difference in this flex of the ski versus just how much it wants to track straight.
Yep.
And you kind of have to be cognizant of that. It's not that they don't function well in that choppy snow, but they prefer smooth.
Oh, and it just takes a little more skier input. You gotta be on your game.
Yep. Yeah, and you have to be kind of realizing that, yeah, maybe your outside foot's gonna get taken away a little bit, and you got to realize that you got to ski a little bit more two-footed in that stuff, and not just kind of let it hang out and run. So it does that good on that firmer smooth stuff, but once it gets choppy, then it's a little harder to control.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, you know, this M7 wouldn't be your ski of choice for overly soft groomer Perry Merrill. I'd say the same thing about choppy snow with this.
Yeah, sure.
And I would just want more width, and I would want a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah.
But anything smooth, and these things just absolutely light it up. It's
and I think, like, you know, looking ahead to tomorrow, chances are your experience will be like kind of a stark contrast.
Yeah.
My expectation of that ski tomorrow is like, well, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And time will tell. Who knows exactly what the temps will do today and what the grooming will end up being like, but it's in theory going to get to 40 today.
Yeah.
And then lock up overnight, which could result in a pretty sweet firm groomer to start the day.
A good Mantra 88 morning.
I think so.
Yeah, and like, because it's an 88, it's meant to do these all conditions skiing.
Yeah.
And it does.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it would be a top choice, but it certainly is able to handle deep enough snow and choppy enough snow, especially given how well it performs in smoother and firmer stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the trade.
And I feel like the off-piste performance, or like ungroomed performance, it's like, and this is not like necessarily a good thing, but it's very perception based.
Yeah.
Where like, if you've never tried the alternative and you've just been skiing skis like this, like your whole life essentially, then it's like, oh, this is great. Yeah. It's only when you like ski 150 different skis in a season, you're like, well, that model right there is better for this over here.
Right.
But realistically, like, no big issues taking these things into ungroomed terrain.
No, and I also think that a ski like this are the times when I wish I had a race background.
Yeah, right.
You know, like, I wish I had a more technical racing background to really harness.
Yeah, because then you're utilizing the ski more.
Yeah.
You're not fighting it, you're benefiting from it.
Yeah.
I hear you.
But
Matt, where do you want to go? It's kind of your turn.
Ooh.
Do you want to ski lift line?
Yeah.
Like, is that weird?
Is this gonna be our first time down lift line this year?
It's not my first time down.
It's gonna be
lift
my
line.
first time.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. No.
I like lift line.
Yeah, let's do lift line.
All right, it's kind of fun. A Stowe classic.
Ready, Matt?
I think so. I'm still out of breath.
Yeah, my legs are tired.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready.
Okay. Matt, I wasn't filming you that run, but I was following behind and I couldn't quite keep up, which leads me to believe that you were going pretty fast. How do those things handle that crud at higher speeds? And what do you think about them being like, talk about like their power in that regard too? Because I think that you need power to motor through some of this stuff.
You have to just rely on the power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just
the
have to
shape
let
of
it
the
run.
flex doesn't let you, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, not to interject, but
Thanks, Matt.
I was filming, which is
Yeah.
like on the same ski, which is like just as challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really have to rely on that power. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, hold speed
Yeah.
and keep
Yeah.
it, because they reward you for that. That's when
Yeah.
they really start initiating and really engaging, is when you get up to those higher speeds, because that's when they just kind of plow through. And then if you get to the firm stuff underneath, that's when you're like, oh, thank God for this stiffness and this power, because then you can just dig your edge in and just hold it the whole way.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt, but
No,
if it's
please.
not clear already, like there's very, very firm snow underneath.
Yeah.
So we had a rain and a freeze, and then it just snowed this on top. So we're dealing with a multi-layer aspect of snow conditions. And what you were saying of getting down through the soft into the firm, and then having that stability there, I think is super important.
Totally, very utilitarian in that regard. Like, just for varying conditions, changing conditions, these are able to handle everything, and they need you to go fast. And even though they are powerful and they are stiff, they still require a lot of skier input, even in this.
Yeah.
Like, I think that you still need to be on top of them, because they can only do so much. But no, I think that these are a great option for changing conditions like we have today. Like, yes, a softer ski with a lot of tail rocker would be more maneuverable, but if you're trying to get in as many laps as possible before you got to go to work,
Yeah.
this is great.
There's a lot of people skiing really fast on Mantras of all years, but certainly I find this M7 to be the most smooth and connective from edge to edge. This latest iteration,
For
and
sure.
I hope that we get a better chance tomorrow to kind of illustrate that just the ability of this ski to get from one turn to the next in a carved form is pretty special.
Yeah, and it's not only the build that makes it feel that connected from tip to tail, it's also that flatter profile.
Yeah.
Like, they are more surfy than you would think.
Yeah.
Like, you can really pivot and swivel them, albeit you need to do that. The
Yeah.
skier needs to do that. So, but yeah.
All right, Jeff.
Yeah.
We're gonna follow you this time.
You are?
One of us is. What's your plan?
I don't know. I'm honestly tempted to do that again.
Okay.
Like, I'm struggling to think of what would be better.
National. I don't know. I bet those bumps under there are pretty firm.
That looks worse. Yeah. That looks considerably worse. I don't know. I'd say I'm either gonna do lift line or hayride.
Okay.
But I feel like Matt nailed it with the speed thing, because they really do. Like, you just have to keep going.
From this point where we are now until the 13 pitch,
Yeah.
you can actually like make some nice big carves.
But it's even like outside of a carving format. I agree with you that like you need to just keep going.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
they need speed, because when you start skiing slow, then they do feel kind of clunky.
Yeah.
And like you feel that weight a little bit from the metal. Where if you're just like, if you keep your momentum going, even if you're just kind of like bopping around and like skiing more up and down and linear and not as like dynamic and round, they still feel good.
Yeah.
the more speed you put in, the more precise they get.
Yeah.
I think like the slower you go, the more clunky and like the more
Yeah.
they start to wander.
Well, and it's also like, it's like the faster you go, counterintuitively, the more forgiving they get.
yeah,
'Cause
Yeah.
it's like,
they just track.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But like if you're skiing, like if we were coming down this and going really
See if I
slow.
can see it.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. If we were coming down this, like they wouldn't feel great because you can't see and you have to make a bunch of like specific turns. But when you're in a spot like lift line where you can see and you can just go,
Yeah.
yeah, they work.
All right. Well, let's go and see how they work.
Got it.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. We're back for day 2 of our on snow mantra assessments. Let's see, what do you got? Bob, you're on a 177 M7.
Yeah.
Matt, you're on a 184
Yep.
M7. I'm on a 177 Mantra 84 now, which I'm very excited about. And it looks like, as expected, the conditions today are gonna put these skis right in their wheelhouse.
All of them, really.
Yeah,
you know,
I think so.
Their carving performance is just so good.
Yeah. So before we get to that, a couple of runs from yesterday to recap. I did that run pretty much just the whole way down Hayride, which was a fantastic run, but you know, it almost like took everything that we were talking about the M7, and for me kind of exaggerated it. Like, I needed to keep going pretty fast, and I found, I don't know how much we talked about this specifically, but I found I needed to keep the ski pointed down the fall line. You know what I mean?
Like just the tips?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like, as soon as I got tired and wanted the ski to go sideways more in an effort to go slower, that's when the ski wasn't as happy.
Yeah.
So if you kind of have the skiing chops to keep your tips pointed down the fall line and carry speed and kind of like, you know, use your legs to absorb things and ski with some purpose and pace, I think it's fine skiing stuff like that on an M7 Mantra. But I feel like if you need any amount of forgiveness, then it becomes a handful.
Yeah.
Anything else you're curious about from my hayride experience?
Again, just a fantastic mix of conditions, terrain, pitch,
Yeah.
aspects, and you got to think that an M7 is built to handle all of those things. At 96 underfoot, we talk about it all the time. You know, what's the sweet spot for
Yeah.
pure versatility? And I think that having a run like that really puts that theory to the test.
Yeah.
So do you feel like that came out, like you came out on the right side of that theory there?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I understand your question correctly, but I still think that like what we're about to do today is more aligned with the feel of the ski.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't even be in my top 25 skis for first choices for skiing hayride like that. But then for people that value the precision, at least it can do it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Jeff, how did you feel about float? Did you feel like it wanted to float a little bit or get to the firmer stuff underneath?
That's kind of what I mean. Like, as long as you keep it pointed kind of straight, then it'll float.
Right.
But because it's so stiff, when you put it sideways, it just wants to like auger right in.
Right.
And then you start like we had, you know, it's so firm underneath, or it was yesterday. I'm sure it still is today. And then you start like hitting stuff.
Yeah.
And then the ski gets deflected because it's so torsionally stiff. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. And then Bob, you had like, I mean, you were on narrower,
Right.
So you were on Mantra 88, skiing relatively similar snow, if not deeper. How did that go?
Well, I switched to the M7 for that last run.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
So
we swapped skis, so I took the M7 and this
All right,
177, so same ski I was on.
right, because I switched to a sender.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So then I went more in the woods and a little bit more in search of deeper snow. And I gotta say, there was a noticeable difference between the Mantra 88 and this M7 at 96.
Sure.
Both going down in length, so increasing the mobility, which I kind of like.
Yep.
Like, my main takeaway is that I'm an M7 skier and a 177. Like, I don't need what Matt's on. And then just the slight change in taper. So with these M7s, there's just more tip taper, more early taper. So it's easier to maneuver through tighter spaces. And I felt like it performed really, really well in softer snow and trees, especially when you're going down that size. So like here in Vermont, that's what we ski pretty much all the time. That tighter space and where you don't need the big ski to access stability and power. So I was pretty impressed, both in mobility and flotation, and kind of felt like this shorter length and wider ski kind of unlocked the Mantra's playfulness.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I've always thought that you're more of an off-piste Mantra skier than me.
Like I enjoy it more.
And like your technique better aligns with what the ski wants.
Yeah.
You know, where I'd prefer to be a little looser. Also, it's amazing how hard it is to remember what we did yesterday because I didn't ski a Sender, I skied a Liberty Scope 99.
Yeah, but you convinced me.
I know, right? I convinced myself too until I started thinking about it.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're gonna go ski. Should be pretty nice. Who goes first?
Why don't you go first on your 84?
Sick.
Get the fresh.
All right, cool. And then we'll do a couple M7 runs with you guys.
Yep.
And then I feel like you should switch back to that 88.
Okay.
I'd love to ask you some questions about any differences you're feeling coming from either Kendo or current Mantra 88 to updated.
Yeah, and it'll also be fun doing the opposite of yesterday, going from narrow to wide and soft snow versus wide to narrow and firmer snow.
Yeah, and then Matt, like this will be a little small for you, but you should get on this 84.
I think I'm with Bob with all of these skis. I think I'm
177.
177. Yeah.
They just like feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously 177 is my, like, I don't need a 184 on paper, but I've skied them.
Yeah.
And I still, like, there's something about 177 that's just like kind of the sweet spot.
They're powerful skis, man. There's no need to reach for the stars and length.
Yeah. So anyways, we're gonna go take a run and then we'll talk to you in a little bit. Not too many people.
All right, so I don't think groomers get much better than Perry Merrill after a snowstorm with a firm base underneath. Like,
that's pretty good. It was a little bumpy.
Yeah, all right, I'll agree with that assessment. It was a little bumpy.
Yeah.
But from top to bottom, you know, starting with the S turns and nosedive, you got a sweet jump, and then ripping down Perry Merrill. How'd you like the feel of those new Mantra 84s?
Love it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's incredible. All right, is that it? Are we
That's it. We're done. That's a wrap.
No, it's really good. So the fourth dimension that you guys have. Like, do you have a tighter radius in the shovel?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've been thinking about this, and like one side of me is, you know, like not bummed, but wonders why the narrower skis didn't get that.
Yep.
But then, like, so even before I took that run, I've been kind of conceptualizing this. They don't need that extra pull because they're so much quicker edge to edge.
Yep.
So your initiation happens quicker because the ski is narrower, and that run just like kind of fully confirmed my hypothesis. So I'm quite pleased. It feels really good. Like, what does that say? 29 meter radius in the shovel. Like it's almost like they shouldn't put that there because that's like, it doesn't, like, I mean, it rips turns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is it underfoot?
I don't know. 17 maybe? 16?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a 16 meter radius ski to me. But I suppose, like, top on the S turns, I wasn't really making carves. And that is where you benefit from that longer radii. Right. It's still kind of catchy.
Yeah.
You know, because it's stiff and sharp and stuff like that. So it's not like, it doesn't feel the most intuitive, kind of making shorter skidded turns, but definitely can do it. And then, like, I was always a big fan of the Kanjo.
Yeah.
Like, I always thought that was a great ski. And I feel like ultimately people didn't buy it and kind of overlooked it because it had like second tier construction. Right. You know, where it was like Kendo and Mantra, and then Kanjo was like a step below them, where this is no longer a step below them. And I still, you know, it's more ski than a Kanjo, so it's not not exactly the same, like, super beneficial ski for an intermediate, you know?
But Volkl has a super beneficial ski for an intermediate
Blaze
in the
82
mid
and 86.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think that having Kanjo and Blaze 86
yeah,
or
too
82,
much too much overlap.
yeah. So this is separating those lines, which I think makes pretty good sense.
Yeah. If anything, it's like now it's closer to Peregrine 82.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like a Peregrine 82 with a little bit more versatility and all mountain pizzazz.
Yeah, yeah, pretty similar conversation to what we had with the older Deacon 84 to Kendo.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, all right, you got two really ripping
Yeah.
carvers
Oh,
here,
look
and
at this guy.
80s and whatnot. I don't know, should I get him on camera?
Yeah, who's that?
I don't know, but they're about to be famous here for making some nice turns down the line.
Stokely skier.
Anyway,
those were
that's
nice
fun.
turns. Come on, Luke. You gotta get Luke.
All right, I'll get Luke. Bunch of good skiers.
Go,
Oh,
Luke. Yeah, go faster.
Oh my god.
I think you heard me.
All right.
A bunch of good skiers on lift line today. This is what happens when you get a sunny,
nice groom
warm
on lift
groomer
line.
day.
Yeah.
All right, I have an idea. Here's Luke's dad. We don't need to film everybody, I guess. Do you guys want to like ski that same run and
Yep.
kind of ski together as best as you can?
The two of us?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll do a dual M7 Mantra run.
Yep.
Go tandem.
And then I feel like we could already start swapping some skis around. The bottom of this one.
Yeah, I think so. And like for me, just skiing that run behind you guys, just my 2 cents. This 177 M7 just rips that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I guess what should happen is Matt should go first with
Okay.
the longer turn radius. It'll be easier for you to match his turns
Yeah.
than vice versa.
Yeah, I'll give it my best.
You're gonna do great.
All right.
Oh, look at that ice right there.
Who doesn't love the cool bar?
It's a great little pitch. Okay, gentlemen, that was awesome. Matt, you almost killed Bob at one point because you made a really cool turn. I don't think Bob was ready for the cool factor.
Yeah, and I also kind of, I don't think I booted
he
out.
stuffed a tip, and that threw me off.
But no, that looked incredible. I mean, it was so much fun following you guys filming.
It felt as good as it probably looked.
General M7 Mantra carving assessments.
Yeah, same as your initial Mantra 84 carving assessments. No issue, done, sweet, end of story.
I mean, they're like,
They're just so strong and powerful and predictable, and it's pretty incredible how well they track. And on that stuff, which is relatively soft,
Yeah.
just how easy they go about it. Like
Yeah.
a lot of other stiff skis will, I mean, you know, you augured in a little bit, but you're
Yeah.
pushing really hard.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of stiffer skis will do that more, and these were just, they're smooth as silk for being kind of loud, actually. You know,
Yeah.
they do kind of
Yeah.
have that metallic ping to them.
well,
So
it's just like you were saying yesterday, as long as the conditions are smooth,
yeah.
the ski is easy.
Yeah.
It's as soon as it gets bumpy or any kind of variable, that's where it gets challenging.
Yeah, like in the couloir, at the right at the bottom when it started getting kind
Yeah.
of snowbally.
Yep.
That's when they kind of were like, oh boy.
Yeah, and it's because they're so reactive and so precise that they get like every single thing that they come in contact with affects the ski.
Totally. I couldn't get out of my head just the precision in the tip. Just as you roll it over, like if you get 1 degree up on your other edge,
Yeah.
they hook up immediately and engage. You really have to be ready for it. But once you get used to it and are able to predict that precision, it's incredible. That smoothness kicks in and that power at the end of the turn comes through.
I mean,
seriously incredible.
So in the mid 60 category, purely speaking to carving on good conditions, like is there anything better?
Mid 60 or mid 90?
Sorry, what?
You said mid 60.
That doesn't make any sense. Mid 90. I was thinking 96.
You know, Anomaly and Enforcer are two pretty clear comparisons, but
are they better?
No,
I don't know that they're better.
you know, you could make an argument that the Anomaly is a little bit quieter and smoother. You could say that the Enforcer is more versatile and
maybe
more
a touch
woody.
more powerful.
Yeah, I think that one's a little bit stiffer.
But they rely on different. Each three have their own separate like chassis shape.
Yeah,
You know, they're very different in terms of that. So, you know, it's fair to say that they are of very similar levels of performance. They just go about it a slightly different way.
yeah. I
Like
agree.
the 184 Mantra feels longer than a 185 Enforcer 94.
Yeah, that's interesting.
agree
Yeah,
with
it
that.
feels much
Yeah.
longer.
And it's not necessarily just an effective edge thing, because
No.
I bet the effective edge is very similar.
Yeah.
Like the rocker profile is so much lower on the Volkls, but I think true effective edge is about the same.
Yeah.
Right.
So we all switched skis. I'm back on a 177 M7 Mantra. I had to pry it out of Bob's hands. Bob's back on his personal Mantra 88. And then we got Matt on the 84. Things are starting to soften up. It's going to be very warm today. I think I might do nosedive.
Still in the
Kind
shade.
of keep
A
it
little firm.
keep it in an M7 conversation for another run, and then switch to you guys. And
Sweet.
I mean, we gotta have some soft bumps on this mountain somewhere, right?
We can go look over there. I bet
Yeah.
there's something fun.
I think that's the move. So we're gonna keep skiing, and we'll talk to you in a little bit.
All right, Jeff, you guys were doing some landscaping, just full on trenching the whole way down that. I was
soft.
I was getting caught up in your trenches.
I mean, it was weird.
Yeah.
I was not as good as over on Perry Merrill. Just a little bit chunkier and a little bit deeper, like softer groom. But I was glad I was on
Should ask
these.
you.
Yeah, I was about to say, I bet you're glad to have switched.
Yeah, like
So-
if I was on the 84, I would have been booting out. And this thing's great. I mean, it's super fun to ski. It's very rewarding. It's still, for me, like, it's so incredibly snow condition dependent. Because if it's really good snow, like perfect manicured packed powder, I love it. But even just like switching to that, which is still really good snow, like really good skiing, but then I start to struggle. Because I just don't think my body weight bends it enough unless I have a lot to push against and
Right.
initiate the shovel. So in that type of snow, I kind of just feel like I'm a little bit along for the ride, you know? Where if I was on a slightly softer ski, I could make more dynamic, more rewarding turns. So it's, you know, it's a skiing style thing, and it's snow condition for me, which I think is fine. You know, it's not like this. An M7 Mantra doesn't need to be a ski that works for me in every situation. It's a ski that I fully appreciate in certain situations, and I think is a great choice for a lot of different skiers. Whether it's for me or not is, you know, it's a different story.
Right. Do you think that pointing the tips down the fall line and just like trying to get past that speed minimum, did that help at all?
Yeah,
Or-
I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's an interesting one for that type of snow, because you could make an argument that if you skied slower and made like shorter turns on the side, it might be more fun.
Right.
You know, but I feel like I'm always kind of looking for more speed on this ski, like that guy.
Like that guy.
This guy's
But
going-
more people do those shorter turns on the side of the trail on a Mantra
especially that.
M7
Like
than
your
what
average
you do.
skier, if you came out and skied nosedive in
Yeah.
those conditions, you'd be making a lot of turns.
Yes.
And it would take a while to get down.
Yeah.
So then it's I don't know, just interesting. But I don't necessarily love skiing that way, so I don't.
Right. Yeah. That's
Bob,
part
did
of
you
the
notice
fun.
anything following?
Just that there was a bit of a hang up there for Jeff in that snow, that
Yeah.
it wasn't as as clean as Perry.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that the stylistic part comes into play there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys want to go look for some soft snow on your narrow skis?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Always.
All right, so we'll go do that, and then we'll talk to you again in a little bit. Okay, that was an interesting run. We had like some really easy baby moguls and then some really challenging kind of frozen moguls at the bottom. Overall thoughts and experiences.
This 184 Mantra 88 is still very quick. Like, you can move it pretty easily. I think that having that flatter profile allows you to pivot easier, which like shouldn't be the case for a ski like this. You know, normally you have something like this and it's a lot of camber, and you really have to load it up, and you have to put effort in to make shorter, quick slalom-like turns, or even just shorter mogul turns.
Yeah.
And these Mantra 88s, and I won't speak for, I've skied that 84 once, but the M7's the same way, where you can kind of let it pivot, and it does really well. But yeah, that said, it's still a very stiff ski for especially formidable moguls like that lower section of Gulch. But nothing's gonna do well there. Like that, there's no winning that run.
Yeah.
So these do fine.
Matt?
I would agree. They do fine. They are far quicker than I expected, which was a nice surprise. But I'll be honest, I was struggling with the snow conditions down there with kind of those like crusty baby heads.
It was tricky.
But I was thankful for how quick they could be, because I would be able to recover. But following you guys carving, these things are just ridiculous. Like the edge-to-edge quickness, the tip engagement that you were talking about, just because they are a little bit narrower, that's where it comes from.
Yeah,
I
they're
totally
really good.
agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, very, very, very fun. Just lightning quick.
I put the camera away on that last section and skied down, because it was really challenging to ski through that stuff holding a camera in one hand, and I was jealous that your guys are on narrower skis. I felt like my wider tail was catching in those bumps, and after watching you guys ski it, like I know it like very, very challenging, but you made it look doable, where like for me coming down, I was like, this is ridiculous. This is impossible.
Yeah, there's definitely a limit to how much flex or lack thereof you could have in a tail to make them amenable to moguls.
Yeah, and then add in more width.
Yeah.
You know, like eight more millimeters or however much it is, and it just feels that much catchier.
Yeah.
So in terrain like that, it's almost like counterintuitive, where the narrower skis are more versatile.
Yeah.
But kind of interesting.
Yeah, you got to work hard there.
What do you guys think? Couple more?
Yeah.
You want to ski? What do you want to ski? Do you want to ski slow side groomers?
T-line looked pretty awesome.
I know. Bob, thoughts?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so I'll film you guys again, and then maybe we'll do the same on these, and then we'll talk to you in a little bit. All right, wrapping things up here. That was a fun 2-day on snow review of 3 skis.
Yeah.
Bob, I'm gonna start with you. Mantra 88 specifically. We've had a lot of questions of like the differences from the previous ski to this ski. My like overall assessment is, as has been true with changes to mantras and kendos or whatever over the past half a decade, they're probably more similar than different. Is that fair?
Yeah. It's incrementally different.
Yeah.
Things I would say are, this one feels a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
Because it's lower to the ground.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite as energetic.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's
Sure.
it's smoother, it's more stable at speed.
Yep.
But I don't find the same level of electricity in shorter turns.
Now, do you think that would change if you switched to 177?
I do, because I feel that way about the M7s
Yeah.
going from 184 to 177.
Yeah, I think it's potentially a length thing more than a...
Yeah, these are built, like, I think as soon as you move to 184, you are built for speed.
Yeah.
Like, there is a distinct difference in these skis between those two lengths. And the cool thing is that multiple people can ski on either of those lengths. It's really a stylistic or preference.
Yeah.
There's no loss of stability or performance
At
if you go
177.
shorter.
Yeah.
There's only an increase in stability and power at speed and in longer turns in the longer length.
So kind of just like the same ski, but refined a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely feels like it's more in tune with the snow.
Yeah. More intuitive.
Yeah. Yeah, it just feels like you're connected better both in firm turns and in lighter turns.
Yeah.
But not quite the same bounce out of the back.
Yeah. Matt, similar thoughts on that 84?
I think so. I don't have a baseline for it since it's a brand new ski.
Yeah.
But I think that if you were someone that was a kendo skier but wants something a little bit quicker for firm snow, this is your ski.
I mean, I think that's going to be a great choice for a lot of skiers. Like how many it's going to take me years to not say kendo, but
you can, because they're likely coming out of a kendo.
Right. Like how many kendo skiers would benefit from dropping 4 millimeters? I'd say more than half.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, I think that's going to be a huge ski for a lot of people.
And they're different enough from the Peregrine.
Yeah.
Like they certainly
they
have
feel
a
more
much more
all-mountain.
distinct feel to them.
Yeah.
Way more versatile.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a pretty easy decision if you're coming from a kendo.
Yeah, like those moguls we skied earlier would be like a nightmare. On a Peregrine 82.
Totally.
Finishing things out here with me, I just had, that was a great M7 run.
Yeah.
Like where did I ski? What? I don't even remember what we've done today. Where did I ski that was punchy? Nosedive.
Nosedive.
Like that was tough.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard for me to really benefit from it. That's what I was talking about on that last run, is like that snow is firm enough that I can initiate a turn earlier and get the ski to bend. And then I feel like I'm using the strengths of the ski to my advantage rather than just fighting a stiff ski.
Yeah.
But that was sweet. I had a blast.
Yeah, and like that, going from kind of that mashed potato to the firm stuff underneath.
Yeah.
I find that the ski does not care.
No,
Like,
not at all.
It just does not care.
No,
at
if
all.
anything, it prefers the firmer stuff underneath.
Yeah.
That's where it wants to get to.
Yeah, it's searching for
like
it.
the mashed potato stuff. It's like this. What am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool too, because like thinking about other Volkl skis, like think about Volkl skis that are good in mashed potatoes. Like Revolt 104 eats it up. So it's not like Volkl skis are bad in those conditions. It's just this one's not designed for that.
Right.
So that's all I got.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that we obviously stopped our widths at 96. There's still the 102 and the 108.
Yep.
I'd like to get on those as well. But
yeah, I would have loved to have those.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll try and get our hands on those soon and do another. So in the meantime, let us know if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.